How's it going, y'all? Y'all doing all right today?
Absolutely, brother.
Good, man. Good. Excited to be here.
So nice to meet you guys. Can you tell me, you guys, your first and last names and the name of the place?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Tom Barnard. I'm the owner of the GOAT MMA and Jiu-Jitsu, located here in Attalla, Alabama at 309 4th Street. This is my partner here.
My name's Chris Davis. I'm the instructor. I teach most of the classes, adult classes, but it's a small, limited role. So,
And what's the location of the place?
We're located in Attalla, Alabama. That's this. Let's see.
Northeast of Birmingham?
Yeah, northeast of Birmingham.
Probably about an hour.
I looked at it right before we got on. An hour. Oh, okay. Didn't look that far. Okay.
What's cool about Gadsden or the Attalla area is it's like a geographical oddity. It's like 2 hours from everywhere. So we're 2 hours from Nashville, 2 hours from Atlanta, an hour from Birmingham, 2 hours from Montgomery. You know, like.
Well, that's kind of cool in a way.
Cool. Yeah, it's a cool little spot actually, and
even though it's freaking 2 hours, you still feel like, this is, we have spots in all these cities. Places we go are in all these cities.
From a jiu-jitsu perspective, like Atlanta's like there is a ton of like you can't go a weekend without there being tournaments and stuff in Atlanta, and 2 hours is still accessible. Like I can get there easily, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And Birmingham, obviously there's tournaments there, and then Nashville's got, a very fast growing population of jiu-jitsu in Nashville because of the game this fight team. Nashville MMA's up there, just great gym I used to train at, and it's growing really fast in Nashville. But Atlanta's
just a booming population in general. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that city's growing fast.
Can y'all tell me the types of classes you guys offer, and maybe like the gi, no gi combination?
So we do
ages.
Yeah, we do. So we do a kids grappling. I don't like to call it jiu-jitsu because I incorporate a lot of wrestling into the
that's cool.
into the program, and so I call it grappling classes.
Yeah.
But we do kids, and they're the lower end of that age group is it's kind of a child by child basis evaluation because 1 6-year-old can come in here and stay focused and pay attention and does great for an hour. And then another 6-year-old, they're not going to sit still. They're not going to pay attention. And the problem is they kind of start distracting me from teaching the other kids, and it becomes a problem. So we tell parents up front, like, look, we're going to have to see how they fit in, how they handle this, and it's always a tough conversation. But the top end is about 14 or 15. And that's, again, kind of evaluated. Like, I don't know if you've seen these kids nowadays, but there's some kids that are like 240 pounds. They're like 15 years old. You got to go to the adult class. So the kids class.
I kind of live my own bubble. I got my 9-year-old and my 3-year-old, so I haven't seen it. I used to teach a long time ago. I used to see it. Now I'm in my own bubble doing my thing.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the steroids we're putting in the chicken nowadays or something. I don't know what it is, but some of these kids coming in here, they're just gigantic. I mean, over 200 pounds, and they're like 13, 14 years old. I'm just like, man.
It's a Walmart chicken.
Yeah, but they're not fat. They're just big kids, just giant kids. So our adult class kind of starts around 15, 16, and I call it the adult grappling, but it's really, again, kind of a capability and athleticism and size evaluation that says, I think you might want to move to the adult class or whatever. And then obviously that goes to 75 years old if you want.
Or higher, huh? Whatever.
Whatever works.
Yeah, and then we teach what I call striking for MMA, because it's not just kickboxing essentially. I teach some ground and pound stuff and how to create space against a fence to land an elbow and that sort of thing. So it's called striking for MMA. We teach that class. And then we have cardio kickboxing classes. My wife actually teaches that.
Oh, cool.
That's a majority women for that class.
Yeah. But it's a good group. I mean, she does a great job of really muscle confusion, kind of mixes it up a lot. It's not just hitting the bag, but what's cool about it, I think what sets our class apart from a lot of these other, boxing or kickboxing classes you go to in some of these box gyms is she's fought before. She's had 6 amateur MMA fights. And
okay.
Yeah, so she's teaching you how do you really throw this right hand or this hook and throw the kick.
So they're hitting air, or they're hitting
a bag. They're hitting a bag. Yeah. Yeah.
But she's telling them, the straight up way that you hit somebody, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like using this term because it's kind of a blanket term, but she's teaching them real technique. And what I mean is just like technique that work. It's tried and true and tested, and like it's not like a Taibo kind of, or I don't want to dog Taibo out, but it's not this commercialized version of kickboxing. She's teaching really how to kickbox, and mixes in a bunch of like squats and sit-ups and burpees and stuff like that to mix it up a little bit, And then we have a boxing class. We have an adult, just pure boxing that's taught by
Philip Jones. Philip Jones has been around for several years. One of my first coaches. He's also in the Alabama Hall of Fame. And Golden Glove boxer. Just all around, great boxing coach. And then Scott Brooks. He also teaches on that class too. So him and Philip's kind of our boxing coaches.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
awesome.
That's it.
Y'all are well rounded. My goodness gracious, that's awesome, man.
Trying to touch on a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, we want to hit from a strictly like business model perspective. You want you don't want your product to be too niche, too small of an appeal. You got to appeal to as broad a group as you can within reason. And so we try to offer, things that'll appeal to everyone, which will make sense. What we're doing with the facility and stuff in the near future,
right?
It's just sensible to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and my son's academy trains at Jiu-Jitsu. They mentioned one time, well, we're going to start kickboxing up again. Everybody perked up, something different. Yeah. Can y'all tell me, go back as far as you want, as far as your personal Jiu-Jitsu journeys, or if it starts with striking, that's fine too. But just tell me however much you want to tell me about your stories and leading up to the academy. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start off with it. I started off here in Attalla at a little place around the corner called Champs Boxing Gym, and started off boxing, and then put a little jiu-jitsu program in the back, and that's where my journey kind of began. What's crazy is the building that we're in now is a building I used to run from my house past every day, thinking, dang, if I could ever get that building, it'll give us so much more range. Yeah. So the building's been condemned for years, was able to, get here, buy it, and this is where we are. But yeah, so it started years ago. I'm 20 years in. Me and Chris, we go back to childhood. We both grew up playing baseball together, and he moved off and started his journey, and I started my journey here. And I would always get him to come back in and help me get ready for fights. And, and our academies, smaller academies that we had around town, he would come in and make sure we was where we needed to be. And that's why he's here, as my partner now. He's always been there for us in the past. And, but yeah, so it started off right here in this small town 20 years ago. And I'm a black belt now under John LeMaster.
How long ago did you get your black?
I've been a black belt for over a year now. I've competed a lot as a black belt this last year, but I compete in a lot of super fights. I've done a few tournaments this year, but mainly a lot of, pay-per-view super fights and stuff that they have, SFG and stuff like that. I think Summit Grappling, SGF, I think is what it's called. But yeah, Jamie Houston, great guy. Anything that I can get on to his, I try to get on. But yeah, so 20 years ago I started.
How old ago? 20? How old are you?
I'm 44 now. So I started a little late. We didn't have nothing like this, and that's why me and Chris are trying to bring what we're doing here now to our area. Because if we'd have had this back, when I was 12, 13 years old, I wouldn't have played football, baseball, and did all the stuff that I did, which I'm glad I did do that. But jiu-jitsu is really what struck my life as far as emotion to where I'm at now. completely changed. The path I was on, it completely changed that path. So um,
What do you think about jujitsu that what is it about it that changed
well,
you and
the
inside?
structure of the structure of the program that I was in, the male role models I had in my journey that I had. It wasn't just any single person or any particular thing. It was just as a whole, every person I come across was family. It didn't matter if it was a 13-year-old kid or a 60-year-old man or a 40-year-old woman. Everybody I crossed paths with kind of changed my outlook on, meeting people that I've never met, hanging out with people that I've never would have ever seen my 18-year-old self hanging out with, and not only, meeting them and seeing them or hanging out with them, but building relationships with them and, becoming family members with a lot of these people. Me and my wife have been married 26 years, and she's been with me she's a black belt in Taekwondo, and she taught me how to throw my first kick for my first fight. So, so it's kind of our whole family, all my kids fought, or have fought. My daughter was the first female sanctioned fighter in the state of Alabama. Uh, Crazy story. My
Wow.
daughter and Chris's wife, which is our coach now, we're all real good friends now, but they actually had one of the could have been fight of the year in MMA.
That is a great
So
spot.
it was so we go way back, but as far as getting back on that, it's just mainly the people, the jujitsu community as a whole.
I guess, one thing that with jujitsu is the fact that, everybody can do it, no matter the size or their background, their age.
Yeah.
So you get a huge, like soup of different types of people. You're hitting on like, you came in contact with so many different people that you might have never met before, right? Ages and different backgrounds. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's
There's
interesting.
kind of this old saying says, I'm not a very religious guy, but there's a very famous book that says, "By beholding, we become changed." And what it means is when you inundate your life with something enough, it changes you. It changes
Mm.
something about you. It changes at a real core level, a fundamental level. It changes you. And what I find about jujitsu is it's it, you have a very broad, diverse group of people from very broad, diverse backgrounds, but all of them tend to have these certain characteristics in place. Like they're not lazy. They're trying to achieve a goal that no one's forcing them to achieve or even attempt to achieve. When you're in high school and you're playing football, you got a coach that's
Yeah.
barking at you. You got
Yeah.
parents who kind of go, "Hey, you need to get to practice. You started it. You're not quitting," that kind of thing. Well, when you're 28 years old and there's nothing making you be here, but you show up every night, that it takes a certain personality
Okay.
type to do that. And I think when you come to a jiu-jitsu gym, you find that in a 40-year-old, white lady from up north and a 22-year-old Hispanic man from, Mexico or Guatemala or something. Like that characteristic is in both of those people. And so you immediately kind of identify a little bit with those people, and you get to see and hear perspectives that you normally wouldn't have. And I
Yeah.
think that's incredible about jujitsu. It's just a
Yeah,
cool,
most
unintended
people
aspect.
do it recreationally, and doing it recreationally, you're not training for a fight. You're training to get
Yeah,
better. So
that's right,
in
man.
that regard, you're not even being pushed in that regard. You are
Yeah,
the only thing that is pushing,
that's right.
getting better. Yeah.
Which is rare to find. I mean, you go to pretty much any other thing, you know, it's a lot of people. You go to a boxing gym. Most of that guys in that boxing gym are driven by other things like poverty. For maybe not poverty, but they're trying to make money. They need to make money. Well, you come to a
Mhm.
jiu-jitsu gym, like jiu-jitsu expensive, okay? Like it's not, you got to go to
Uh-huh.
the tournaments and buy the gi, and you got to pay the entry fee, and then you got to there's
Yeah.
your travel and gas and food and all this stuff. And like up until I'd say recently, there was no money in jiu-jitsu.
Really, yeah, really up until I think, well, about 3 or 4 years ago, I think is when Brandon McCatherine,
Yeah.
BMAC started PGF and stuff, and that's really opened the doors to, you know, a lot of people getting money. I don't know if you're familiar with PGF World or the PGF and stuff. If you
Hit on that one. I don't know. Yeah, tell me
Yeah,
what that is.
so PGF is a professional grappling federation. Is we have a team here in Alabama, Alabama Twisters. But so Brandon McCatherine, a real good friend of mine, he started the PGF. Had this vision, and man, it's changed it. Like if you look up, after we get done with this podcast, look up Brandon McCatherine, look up PGF Worlds, and hit, look into that a little bit. Like I said, he ran the show I think 2 years ago off of UFC Fight Pass, picked it up, and anyways, you see a lot of the feeders coming from PGF on UFC grappling. The show that they're having now. So, but yeah, so
It changed the game.
It changed the game. Like there's people, like there's, and at tournaments now, it's not just going to a tournament and winning a medal or belt. Like you go to some of these tournaments they put on, like the Twister tournament they put on here in Alabama. You go to these tournaments and if I submit you and they like it, there might be a money bag come flying over and hit me. Might have $50, $100, $200. You don't never know, but you can make money out of it. And it's it's just it's different from the tournament, the thousands of tournaments I've competed in, NAGA and AGF and I didn't have never competed in ADCC, but just the several tournaments I competed in, IBJJF and all that. Like it's just different. It's super fight submission only. You can make a lot of money at it, but I think
but 10 years ago, like none of that was there. It just was expensive to do the sport, and you had to love it.
Love it. Absolutely.
And now I think that love is still there, but there's money starting to trickle into the sport itself. And I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. It's going to raise it's going to put jiu-jitsu in front of a lot more eyes and grow the sport. And you need that. I think you get these. We want the same thing to happen to jiu-jitsu that happened when the American wrestler got exposed to jiu-jitsu in the late 90s. When you take your average, everyone knows this now, take your average collegiate wrestler, give me 90 days with him. That dude's performing in no-gi like a blue belt, a high-level blue belt, right? Because he needs to learn how to not get submitted off his back. And when you grapple with him, he will feel like he's been doing it for doing jiu-jitsu for 2.5 years. That's how he'll feel. Even though he hasn't, he's only been doing it for 90 days. He'll feel like he's been doing it for, years. And I think that when money starts pouring in the sport, we can get that again, because what happened when the American wrestler got a hold of jiu-jitsu, it changed everything. Brazilians could no longer submit these guys off of their back, so that they began to invent these awesome new guards and sweeps, and everything got better. Everything improved. But go back to the 90s. It was arm bars and triangles and kimuras. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like from their back. Okay. That's what everybody was doing. But you look at 2004, it's a completely different game. You had to know that, you had the beginnings of X-Guard, and De La Riva was starting to become big thing. People started Barambola and like all these stuff that didn't exist in 92, 93. And I think the catalyst for that was the American wrestler getting a hold of jiu-jitsu. And I think as money pours in the sport, we can get that again. We can have this other new explosion, sort of like when Eddie Bravo hits the scene and starts doing all this rubber guard stuff. Changed everything. It changed the sport itself.
Yeah, I remember the match, and I'm sure you watched it too if you watched jiu-jitsu, when he went against Gracie and beat him, and it just
that blew everything
up, and now the game, that's kind of 10th Planet's kind of changed the game, with in a whole different aspect than what we've seen, so it's just consistent evolving, everything's evolving.
Or think about this. Go start a jiu-jitsu gym in 1996. Whew, that's tough. That's a tough business, because no one knew what it was. It had these stupid senators talking about how violent MMA was and how terrible, and they just didn't know what they were talking about, right? And now look at us. We got I'm not going to say a tiny gym. It's 10,000 square foot gym in a small town in Northeast Alabama that's creating a successful business model off of it. And that's because the explosion of the sport. And all I'm saying is the more money that pours into the sport, the better this becomes. So that's what I'm excited about now.
Do you guys implement wrestling technique into jiu-jitsu in any way?
Oh, a lot. Yeah. So my background, I started, I guess we didn't talk about that very much. I started I came from a background of kind of a meathead. I lifted weights. I had a 665-pound deadlift and just
Okay.
over 600-pound squat. And I was benching almost 500 pounds. And I went to this gym, this guy named David Hewlett. I
In
was like
numbers, I don't even know
two.
what it means, those numbers.
It's
Me either.
very heavyweight, very heavyweight. I
I'm like,
realized at a
okay.
young age I wasn't very good at many things, but one of them was picking something up and setting it back down. And so I started doing that a lot, and I had some success. And then I went to this gym, and I'm like, you gotta understand, dude, I'm like 250 pounds at this point, 260, something like that, and I'm really really strong. Just your typical gym meathead, you know. And this guy
Mhm.
named David Hewlett, he weighed buck 75. And I go in there and I'm like, this is interesting. Like, let me test the waters here. And he's like, look, well, and I was overly aggressive, you know, and he was like, because I don't want to waste my time. So he's like, well, if you want, we can spar a little bit, then we can roll a little bit, whatever you want to do. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Well, when we were sparring, he just like would punch me in the face, and then I would go to hit him back, but he wouldn't be there anymore. He's already cut an angle and is hitting me again before I could hit him. So in
Yeah.
my head, I'm like, wait till we grapple, because he said we're gonna roll. I didn't even know the term grapple. I said, wait till we roll. I get my hands on you. I'm gonna crush your skull. That's what I was thinking in my head, right? So we start rolling. He's like 175. I'm like 260. We start rolling, and it was like armbar, 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 knee bar, knee bar, knee bar, knee bar, choke, 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 choke. Blew my mind, dude. There's nothing I could do. Nothing I could do. He
Mhm.
just played
Hit you
with
with
me.
it.
It was toy. Yeah. I go outside, I sit in my car, and I go, man, I got to learn how to do that. That was incredible. Like it was one of the most impressive things I'd ever seen in my life. And that moment is what sold me. I said that was amazing to me that a
What
guy that small could do that to me, and I was 260 pounds and not fat.
at this point, let's hit on this. Um what does jujitsu mean to you guys? Why are you guys so passionate about it? If you can, like, not too long of an answer, but kind of like if you had the best answer within a few sentences, you know?
For,
Why are you
for
the most, I mean, what's the main reason?
if I put it in one sentence, is jiu-jitsu is a big part of MMA, and MMA essentially saved my life. Like, I was extremely poor. Like, dude, I lived in the gym, and I'm not being facetious. Like, I had a futon mattress in a closet in a gym. That's where I lived,
Mhm.
and the gym didn't even have a shower. I had to go to friends' houses at night, and I just would rotate which friend I would go to, so I wasn't too much of a burden on one friend.
Mhm.
Um, and then I would start dating a girl, and I would use her shower every night for a while.
Okay.
And then,
That that
anyway, it
works,
saved my
makes
life.
sense.
You know,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
same.
my answer.
Yeah, same for me. Like Chris, we both grew up same, same poverty, same, neither one of us had anything. Um, seeing people like him thriving and making it in MMA made me think, hey, he come from where I come from, and let me take this journey, and turned out to be a real good fighter as well. And broke nothing. If I wanted a vacation, guess what? I'd set a fight up somewhere, get my travel fee, get a free hotel room, and that's how me and my wife traveled. So
Yeah.
and that's just it's just back then. That's kind of how that's how it was for us. Yeah, so it's completely molded me into the person I am now. Using it for the money to begin with, and then what little bit it was, and vacations and trips, being able to see stuff that I've never seen in my life, never thought I would see. Getting out of Gadsden, Alabama, or Attalla, Alabama, and really getting and seeing stuff, and running into people that really had stuff, and it pushed my levels from bottom to top. Just seeing where I could go in this sport, and
Like being
just
exposed to, yeah.
it being exposed, yeah, and meeting people, like I said, meet in the beginning, meeting people that I would never in a million years think I would meet in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
When
think
you
I think
guys
people undervalue
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, man.
No, go
But
ahead, go ahead.
I think people undervalue the impact jiu-jitsu's had even in their own life. And let me explain this. If you think about MMA, for example, there's you could go compete in an MMA fight and never in your life have wrestled. Okay. You could go compete in an MMA fight and never in your life done judo, right? But I submit to you, it would be extremely hard to go do an MMA fight and you've never done jujitsu. Okay. I think it would be almost impossible
because of the technique.
because of the technique, because of the evolution of the sport, right?
The art of
Where
it,
it is
yeah.
now. The worst guy in the top 100 in the world is still pretty good, even very good compared to average people at all of those kickboxing, boxing, Greco-Roman wrestling, jiu-jitsu, you name it, whatever it may be. He's still pretty good. But even that guy, you can't go do it without jiu-jitsu, but you probably could without, say, boxing. You might be able to do it. You might be able to do it without wrestling and judo and all these other, but you could not do it in the sport today without jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's the impact it's had. So
yeah, me and my son, we watched one championship.
one FC, yeah, I watched the one
And
FC, yes.
because that's the free one, right? At least it used to be free. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, there's a movie.
But,
there's a movie I just watched last night about the one FC. Check it out. It's on
Really?
Netflix. Oh man, it's by
I'm
far
writing it down.
yeah, write it down. It's he fights in the one FC. It's by far the best fight scenes you'll ever see and that I've seen to date in an MMA movie.
What's the name of it?
I can't think of the name of it, but it's on
Right.
Netflix and it's a fight movie. Like it's got it's got Russell Crowe in it. He's the coach. It's bad. You'll love it.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I saw the previews. Okay.
Oh, dude,
Yes,
it's amazing.
Okay.
Fight scenes are amazing. Good storyline.
Netflix. Got it. Okay, cool. Did you have to pay for it?
$9. It was worth it though.
Okay. I'll do it.
You had to pay it on
Um,
Netflix?
I think it was $9.
Oh,
Man,
Whatever.
when you guys started the academy, what was the biggest why? Kind of like, what did you want to make of it? What did
I
you want
started-
it to be? What did you want it to be for people?
Well, mainly what we look for so much as kids, a place to get the future. Like I said, if we'd had this when we was growing up, the sky would have been the limits. Like Chris fought Bellator, did some big fights. I had a really good amateur career, but we just didn't have this. Now these kids that we got, the 5-year-olds, that they've got this place now. So my main thing when I got this building, and we have such a huge following, me and him both. So the goal was when I got this place to build something that you have to go 2 or 3. You have to go to a big city to have. So I want my gym, which I have one of the biggest gyms around this area. And I wanted that to be able to pour into the kids, pour into our future, and that was the main thing with me and Chris both, is to bring something that we always wanted here. And that's what we have. We're knocking on the door, we're knocking on the door of having something a little different than anybody. Chris has built an app for our gym that hit
It's already out on iOS, but it's not out on Google yet. Android's taking forever to approve it, but I built an app, for a mobile application for the gym. And
Okay.
that started out, I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and I moved to Florida, and kind of my background is, building codified business systems. Basically, companies want to sell to private equity. They hire a guy like me to say, what do we need to do? How do we get auditable accounts receivables, and what do we do? And so I come in and kind of make sure they're efficient and fix some things so that because I know what the PE firms are going to ask for. I know what they're going to want. And so when Tom comes to me and he's like, hey man, help me out in my gym. I'm like, I wanted to coach. Cause like you said, I have 5 kids myself. I've almost figured out what's causing it. It's something to do with me and my wife, but, I think I keep telling her that, and she keeps letting me. I have to practice to try to figure out, But we do. I wanted to give something. Me and Tom said this when we were younger. It's like we'd go places, Atlanta and stuff, and we'd say, "Man, can you imagine if this was in Gadsden when we were 10, 15, years old? Like this would have been incredible." And Dom's done it. He's succeeded at it. He's being humble on the podcast, but this is a 10,000 square foot gym. We're gonna have a product that no gym, I don't know, 3-state radius is going to have. We're going to be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're going to swap our front door. The app will unlock the front door. So you use your proximity settings on your app, will unlock the front door. You come in, you can use the facility, and my whole idea with this was to build a model that broadens the income capabilities. Think about a guy who works third shift right now. He can never come to our gym and take one of our classes. So what I did is we turned the facility 24/7, set your security and cameras up, build an app that has a syllabus on it. And I record videos we put on the syllabus. So guys that him and a buddy could come here, use the facility, take a video, watch it. It's very detailed. I have 500 megabytes per video. I can put a 3.5-minute long video on there. Well, I could teach somebody how to do an arm bar. And you just watch it over and over again. You practice it and you drill it with your friend, and then you try to do it live. And within a couple weeks, you probably could pull off that arm bar live against people that you've never rolled with before, if you've been grappling or whatever. And so that was kind of the idea. And then Tom's an entrepreneur himself. He's got Blue Collar Fight Promotions. He puts on fights that are the biggest. He broke records on the last fight that they did in the state of Alabama, largest attendance ever in history of Alabama. And then he's got a construction. Yeah, it was awesome. And the fights are great. We got a fantastic venue. I do the commentating. Tom's the mastermind behind all the event, getting everything set up, which is a nightmare if you've ever had to do that. But then so Tom and me kind of get together and we start evolving the idea, and it's turned into this. It's 10,000 square feet. We got a bag stand, a kickboxing, a boxing ring, we have a cage in our gym, and we got about 4,000 square foot where you can lift weights. There's 2 saunas. We're going to have a cold plunge. We're going to have a functional fitness area. We're going to have a tanning bed. Like, we're going to have a facility no MMA gym in the country has, and an app for our phone that goes on your mobile phone. Like, I think we're going to be able to create a product that will at least in our local community force this to grow, to.
Mm-hmm.
And something
well, I'm just getting introduced to it now, but I'll tell you, your logo is amazing. The branding. Yeah, I love it. The GOAT. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got another thing, like Chris was saying, the syllabus online and everything that he's built. It's a syllabus that he built. It's his. We're not following nothing else. We're following what he's done, the journey he's done. And a lot of technique that I've learned over the years is because he would come down to teach too. So it's something that's proven. It got him.
I was being a little bit humble here. Let me tell you how annoying this was. I would come home because I moved away for about 20 years. I trained at Nashville MMA, and I trained in Atlanta at the Icebox with Brian Stan and Juan Carnero, Rafael Suncao, Douglas Lima, Diego Lima. Some absolute monsters. I lived in New York for a year. I got to travel a bunch. I went to Vegas and trained a bunch. And I'd come home to visit my daughter on the weekends, and I'd pick up my daughter and we'd go to Tom's gym, and they would be at this, shade tree or to wherever they were. And I would show some technique, oh, hey, cool. Check out this cool thing I learned in Atlanta. Here's what I've been working on. And I would show it to them. I'd come back 2 weeks later, and they're pulling it off live against me because they would just drill it over and over and over, like hundreds of reps, thousands of reps. By 2 weeks later, they're better at the technique than I am. And I'm like, well, this is annoying, like I got
because they have the time to practice it thousands of times.
They got better at it than I did. So before you know it, they're teaching me some stuff.
But something else, something else is cool, like with a syllabus that, and we're putting these videos on our app, and online we got these, we got TVs throughout our gym. We got one over the boxing ring, one over the cage, 3 over the jiu-jitsu mat. So it's kind of given like, if you a station, if you come in and you don't have a coach, well, guess what? You got me and Chris on a video. You pull your video up and you watch us live. So we're coaching you right here on the mats while you're watching us on a 65-inch TV hanging on the wall. Yeah. So you kind of gotta, it's just something a little different. You know what? Think about it. How many gyms have you been in with a TV over the mat with 3 stations that it's just, it's
That's
not
amazing.
We're just trying to hit on something a little different. We're trying to touch people that ain't never been touched, as far as like, there's some people that just too shy to come in that want to come by themselves. We're trying to get them people.
I used to work at this place called Tape Craft in Piedmont, Alabama. I worked third shift, and I hated my life. I hated everything about it. It was a horrible job. The way the work schedule was, my sleep/life schedule was the opposite of everyone else. And so when I thought about doing this, I thought this is a way to give a guy something that isn't just that he could have that he couldn't have. It isn't even possible for this guy to learn jiu-jitsu in Gadsden, Alabama.
Yeah.
If you work third shift, there's no way you can learn it. But
So you
now,
are coming from the perspectives of your childhood, what you wanted, and then also, in your work life, what you wanted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah,
Everything that stopped us in our past, being broke, having to work third shift. Me too. I worked at Walmart third shift. Now I own everything I have. Really successful. Chris is really successful, build multi-million-dollar businesses and that people sold. And we've where we're at now in our life is somewhere that that we never thought we'd be. And
I was pretty sure I was going to be in prison by this age.
well, I mean, if you take me and Chris and you get 10 of his friends, 10 of my friends, and you put them together, 5 of them's dead, 5 of them's in prison.
Yeah,
And then you get a couple of good old boys out of it. That's really changed something. And that's our goal. Mine and him together. That was our goal. When me and my wife first bought this building, she was like, "What are you doing? This is the building. Condemned.
it didn't have a
Didn't
roof.
have a roof.
You
on it.
walk in, you look up, you see the
Oh,
sky.
really?
Yeah.
Like you just saw the sky.
Really?
Yeah,
And but she's been my backbone, like as far through all this journey
Like a
and everything.
movie.
I first started, she worked. That's why she's last 15 years she's been a stay-at-home mom. But when I first started this, she worked 2, sometimes 3 jobs just to be able to support me to go travel and train.
Okay.
But I always gave her that
Yeah.
vacation that was paid for.
yeah.
Again, so it was a win-win for her. Work 3 jobs. Let me get us a casino room and go fight in a casino somewhere and get some meal vouchers.
Let me ask you, how long did you say you've been doing jiu-jitsu?
No, I've never trained ever. My son has trained for about 5 years.
That's right, your son. That's right. How old is
Yeah.
he?
He's 9.
None.
Wow. Can you so if 20 years ago, like or say 25 years ago, a 9-year-old could have incredible work ethic and work hard, and he was still limited by the sport because communication wasn't what it is now. We got the internet and all this cool stuff. You didn't have that in 95, 2000, 95. It just wasn't what it is now. Now, can you imagine where jiu-jitsu is going to be in 20 years? Like, it'll be almost like it is in Brazil. Like, this is what I think, is what I hope is, now growing up, I don't know where you grew up, but in Alabama.
I think especially as far as how many kids are doing it now as a sport,
Yeah. And let me tell you something. In Alabama, when you're growing up, there's this unspoken weird pressure to play football. Like,
Sure.
you gotta play football, and if you don't, you're kind of weird, or you're a nerd or whatever it might be. I mean, those are kind of antiquated ideas now, but the point is,
Yeah.
that's just how it was 25 years ago. Well,
Yeah.
the point is, football is like in the culture of Alabama and Georgia. It's just so ingrained in the history here. Well, the reason jiu-jitsu is not like that is it's only been here for 25, 30 years. Football's been here for hundreds. It's back in the 1800s they were playing football. And so I think jiu-jitsu can appeal. The difference between between jiu-jitsu and almost every other sport is it can appeal to almost every living person, even
And it's year round.
and there's no season for it. It's 100% of the time, and that's why jiu-jitsu, I believe, will just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. It brings in competitive nature, and if I've learned anything about people in the world today, is if it appeals to vanity and instant gratification, it'll be successful. And man, there ain't nothing more wonderful than pulling off your first armbar.
That's right. And something else you don't get with any other sport is in jiu-jitsu and MMA, you have a 50% chance to win, no matter who you face. You got a 50% chance. That's how hard are you working? How I tell all my guys all the time is it's how hard you're working. You know, if you're working harder than that guy for that tournament, you're probably gonna win. You know,
There's no faking it.
there's no faking it.
There's no hiding behind it. You can be on a football team
Yeah.
and get a national championship ring, but you sat on the bench the whole season. But in jiu-jitsu, you know, it's sort of like wrestling and jiu-jitsu and grappling. Like you can pretend all you want. The minute you step on the mat, we're going to find out. Did you work hard? Did you do the things you claimed you did?
Because if you did, it's gonna show. You know, and it's but if you did, it's gonna show. So
yeah.
I mean, I guess because of that, it can become like such a personal journey, such a personal mental challenge, because it's just you.
That's right, and you're putting yourself and your body through stuff that you never would have if had you not entered this sport. You know, and it's so, you know, it feeds you. You know, like to me, it was a feed, like it fed my soul, like being able to come in here and train. Like if I missed a day of training, I'm like, I just didn't feel right, you know. So it's, you know, and that's if I'm like that, everybody else it should be, you know, or is.
I hope that what we're doing here is this is what I hope. I hope we're planting seeds. Have you ever heard the saying that strong men create good times create weak men create bad times create strong men create good times, cycle continues? You ever heard that saying before?
Say that last part one more time, and I haven't, but I want to get it across.
So
Yeah,
strong men create good times create weak men create bad times create strong men, and then the cycle
yes, okay,
continues.
got it. Yeah.
Well, it occurred to me, how could you stop this? How could you prevent this cycle? And the only logical way to me is strong men create these good times. During the good times, you can't let it create weak men. Well, how do you do that? The only ethical way I can think of is people have to go through difficult things. They have to go through things that are hard. There's something you gain from it. There's something it changes you in a way, you know. And I don't mean traumatic. I mean difficult. Like I'm not saying you need to go, you know, be kidnapped and beat to death. You know, that's hard, but that's not the kind of thing I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to create something that people have to work hard to go to accomplish something difficult. And it's the only way I can think that you can take during good times, create strong men. And how do you do that? Well, to me, it's sports. Well, there's nothing that even gets close to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. Those two sports combined together, in my opinion, to encompass the term grappling. So for me, grappling is the best way to create strong men during good times. And it's also the way that I think parents, not only do they have a right, I think they have an ethical duty to make their kids learn how to protect themselves. And, you know, when you're a parent, you know, you wash your kids' clothes till they can wash their clothes. You clean their room till they can clean their room. You do things for them till they can. That's what being a parent is. And one of those is I protect my children until they can. Now, that's what I tell them. But you're a parent. You're going to protect your kids your whole life. But that doesn't mean I don't want my kids to learn. They need to learn how to protect themselves. I don't think it's necessarily ethical for me to force my kid to learn how to throw a spiral, you know, or dunk a basketball. But I have not only an ethical right, I think I have a duty to teach that, to force them to learn how to protect themselves in a situation in which someone may want to hurt them. And so I get to kill two birds with one stone. My child gets to learn how to protect themselves, and they're going to go through something difficult, which is going to forge their character. And that's what I hope to do with this gym here in this sport.
That's an awesome way to look at it, man.
Your son, a perfect example. You know, when he walks through life now as a 9-year-old kid, he's walking with his shoulders high.
Wait a minute, he's 9 and he's been doing jiu-jitsu for 5 years?
Yeah.
Is he like a little monster
around 4.5,
now?
something like that. Oh my God. Dude.
Imagine armbar everybody all the time.
Are huge. It has nothing I don't know, it has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu, but I'm telling you, he's huge. He just sits on me, you know, and he does the moves, and I'm telling you, I don't want to mess with him. And now I would never tell him that.
And now let me
I could overpower him, but like I'll get hurt.
Now let me hit on this. So imagine your son running in contact with somebody that's bullying him that's 12 years old that's never done this.
Yeah, it changes
So,
everything.
100%.
so this is why we opened this gym. We wanted to open this gym to touch the 5-year-olds, like your son started at 5, 4-year-olds.
We don't want to touch 5-year-olds. We want
We want to impact their
we
hearts.
want to impact the youth. We want to impact the youth. So the reason we opened this gym is to be able to impact the youth.
Yeah.
So that, when they get 12 years old, they're able to, they're walking with their shoulders high. They're walking through life a whole lot more confident than they would have. They're able to fight through adversity at 9 years old that they would have never seen until they're 15 or 16 years old.
I'm not sure why there's this societal push away from this, but I think, there's some truth in the statement. Sometimes you just got to punch a bully in the mouth. Like, that's what it boils down to, is like, is it solve all problems? No, it does. I don't want that to be my child's first response to conflict. I get all that. But sometimes you get to a spot where it's like, this is it. This kid it's better for the bully to be punched in the mouth, right? Like, you want him to learn that lesson from another 9-year-old. I don't want him to learn the lesson when he's 17 and that 17-year-old kid doesn't punch him in the mouth. That 17-year-old kid pulls out a pistol, or shoots him or something crazy like that. So, no, that 9 years old, and he's been doing jiu-jitsu for 5 years.
That's amazing.
And
you're doing your duty.
One thing that I always think is really cool is in classes when the kids cry. You never see kids cry much, in other sports, but they're not really getting hurt a little bit. They're never seriously hurt. But yeah, they're crying. They have to walk off the mat, and they're growing.
That's
it happens
the manifestation.
every single class.
That's the manifestation of their character being forged. That's it, right there. You're seeing the evidence of it.
Seeing it. Yep.
It's so good for kids, man. I think just doing something hard is just good. It's healthy for you.
It's good for everybody. You guys really hit on what makes the place special. You guys are. It's so cool how innovative you guys are being, and like the drive you have. Oh my gosh, I have to check up on you guys on like every month. I feel. That's really cool. The plans
if you're
you guys
ever
have.
in Northeast Alabama, come to the gym.
Oh,
but don't bring your son.
Right.
I don't want to get armbarred.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll fit through the door, bro. His thighs are huge. I'm telling you. Hey, let me ask you this: if you can say just one thing about jiu-jitsu to the outsiders who have never done it before, what would you say? Just kind of like to wrap this up, and then also, what do you want to say to your community there?
You mean locally? You mean? To the outsider who's on the outside watching in, it's nothing like what you think it is. There's a deep culture behind jiu-jitsu. It honors its roots. How many gyms you go to? Name me a jiu-jitsu gym in the country that doesn't know the name Gracie. It doesn't exist, And so it's nothing like what you think. All your pre-existing, thoughts about what jiu-jitsu may be it's nothing like what you think. It's a brotherhood, or a sisterhood for some people,
and it changes lives. It's a life changing. Jiu-jitsu is a life changing community, so
yeah. And I think if I was going to say something to my local community, it would be
I wanted that, but also the people who go there. That's what I meant by that. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
To me, it's thanking everybody. We have such a big support system locally in our community. We sell all of our fights out. Our gym's packed. We got 108 members in a year and growing. We have people sign up every day, at least 3 or 4 people a week.
And we haven't even really had a hard opening yet. We did a soft opening just for like the members just the group that when it was just like 20, 30 people.
And it's just, we have, so for me, it's just thanking everybody, for being there, supporting us.
Well,
what we're building.
What I would say to my members is get to the gym. We got reps to do, And what I would say to the community, it would be,
where are you?
Get to the gym. We got reps to do, guys.
Like the guy that pops up in the memes. Go to the
Yeah, yeah,
gym,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like,
Where you at?
Where you at?
your vein was bulging for 1 second.
Yeah.
That's what made me think of him, you know?
I will sometimes, you know.
Dude, the Saturdays, like, we have open mat on Saturdays, every Saturday from 2 to 4. Sometimes you come here and there's not room on the mat. Like, there's 30
Really?
people on the mats grappling, right? And some Saturdays you come here at 2 o'clock and there's no one here. It's a ghost town. Like, and I'm like, guys,
Yeah, yeah.
Saturdays are great because you can get reps in, without all the structure and pressure of a class, But you get them
Yeah,
reps
yeah.
in, man. That's what it is. Get those reps in. That's what it's all about.
Well, thank you guys so much. We had a good time. I had a
Absolutely.
fun time, last, 15 minutes to an hour, and, thank you guys for what you're doing. You're being incredibly innovative, and, of course, that's going to happen in jiu-jitsu. People are gonna continue to evolve, not only the sport, but also the academies themselves, and that's definitely what you guys are doing. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Absolutely,
definitely
man.
have to, like, check in again. Maybe you guys can be on again in, like, several months or something.
Yeah,
For
man.
sure,
How
man.
everything's
We'd love
going.
to like stay in touch because I think what you're doing as well is this is unique.
This is.
I did a lot of podcast. I fought for Bellator when I was younger, and I did tons. You do magazine interviews and podcasts and TV stuff all the time. And I've never done one from this kind of perspective of the story. What is the history? How did you get where you are? I think that's a
Mhm.
great. I
Yeah.
think it's a really cool idea that I think will resonate with people. This is the only reason why documentaries are such a big deal on Netflix.
That's right. That's right.
People love
Mhm, mhm.
they love to hear what happened, but when you start telling them, okay, here's how it all began, then it becomes interesting and you can capture an audience.
Yeah,
And you're,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
touching on people's lives, man. Cody, what you're doing, brother, is amazing, and that's why we wanted to be a part of it.
sure.
We're
on
we
board for
really
sure.
appreciate you on board
Yeah.
for sure.
Right, I know what it does for, just everyday people, not necessarily, training to compete, but of course them as well. It everybody that trains jujitsu does so much for them socially, mentally, and they can it seems like everybody that does it is continuously evolving, in some way physically, but even more so mentally. So I know what it does for
Yeah.
people, and I'm trying to get it out there, what it's actually doing for people and how it started for everybody because that's kind of where most people are is they haven't started yet, so it's kind of getting out those stories of how you guys started and
Yeah.
yeah, I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. We're
Totally
excited.
appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. Okay, thank you guys. I hope you have a good night. It's
All right.
6 o'clock now, right?
Yeah.
Have a good
Yeah.
night.
I
Enjoy.
got another class.
Another class. See you, brother.
See you,
Appreciate
man.
All right, take care, you guys. See you soon. All right,
See you
bye.
soon.
Hey Chris, how's it going today?
Hey, Cody, it's going great, man.
Good, 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 good. Where are you at? Where's the academy at?
Essentially, we're in Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham. Okay,
In the
yeah,
south,
it's going.
yes. Right above
Y'all been
you,
getting a lot of
really. I
rain,
mean,
right?
right. Yeah,
Um, can you tell me your first and last name and the name of the place, the location of the place? You already said that. And then kind of like the types of classes that you
sure,
guys offer. Just tell me all
sure,
about it.
sure. Well, I'm Coach Chris Mize. I own Heroes Martial Arts Academy. We have two locations. One's in Trussville. It's still considered Birmingham, both schools. And one we just moved to 280. We had another location, and we've moved down the road a little bit. So we're on Highway 280 in Birmingham also. So Trussville and Highway 280 are our two locations. Um, the location I'm sitting in now is the Trussville location. We've been here for 16 years. Like I said, we just moved into the other school. The other school that was right down the road that we moved from, we were over there a little over 5 years. So I had two
Okay.
schools for 5, 6 years.
Oh.
Uh, that's quite an investment. I would not encourage that unless you're a better man than me. Coach Eric Paulson told me, "Oh Lord, that's a lot you're chomping off to open two schools."
Mhm.
And he was correct. so
Okay, it's
so
just how it happened, though, right? Yeah, you go
it
with it.
is. There were reasons why I did it at the time, and it's let me just network and grow more and touch more lives. I guess is the best way to do it, and made some great friends along the way.
Awesome. Made it fun. Made it interesting. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Can you go over the classes you guys offer there?
sure. So we're under Coach Eric Paulson. So the CSW program. So we offer Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. We do Nogi, which is CSW, Combat Submission Wrestling. Kind of like catch wrestling, but jujitsu's in mixed in with that. Um, right now, we don't just offer a catch wrestling class. Um, Coach Eric also does a STX, which is Savat, Thai box, and cross training. So it's kind of like taking the best things from those striking arts and really Western boxing and everything else. There's a little bit of Salat and there's a little bit of everything in that STX program. So we kind of teach a variation of that as well here at Trustful. Right now, we just do the grappling arts stuff over at the other school. We do more combative stuff over there, real world combative kind of things over there. And that's really where we're focusing. We're kind of leaning into that, um, working with guys and organizations, the Combatives Association and stuff, and things like that. So we want it to apply to real world stuff. I mean, not that jujitsu doesn't, but jujitsu is kind of the means to the end to prepare yourself. So we want to look at the reality end of it, not just the competitive. I know things tend to we're leaning now in the zeitgeist of jujitsu now is very competitive based with the no gi and stuff being the bigger end of that. But we want to not just get back to the roots of it, but why do we do it? You want to feel confident being able to walk around, and the world's a dangerous place, and you want to be able to walk with confidence and be aware and just do everything you need to stay safe.
Yeah, being very open-minded from a, instructor's, point of
Oh
view,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
that's coach. That's the our coach Eric lineage who's under Guru Dan Anasanto and Higan Machado, and he's had a bunch of influences. It's that absorb what is useful kind of mentality, back to Bruce Lee kind of mindset. Um, so we don't throw anything out. We want to use what is going to work. And we're just open minded about stuff. Um, you were asking about the age groups. So we start our kids at 6. I had a little heroes class for a while, and then COVID kind of killed that because everything kind of shut down. And it was I enjoyed that class, but it was kind of like a pre-jujitsu kind of class, and we taught some different things in it and stuff like that. Just taught some one how to follow instructions better, and some other gymnasticy kind of things and stuff like that to
Mhm.
get kids ready to train. Um, but six to 16 is kind of our youth program, and then of course our
Okay.
adult. And we've got people as old as 74 years old training
Wow.
with us. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's really cool. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Wouldn't that
So
be awesome if you could do that at 74?
yeah, and some of them. So the gentleman I'm talking about, Tim, he started his jujitsu journey actually during COVID. He was saying that everybody was kind of sheltered in, couldn't do anything. He was getting depressed. He was doing things, and he was trying to find things to kind of integrate himself back into a regular society thing. And he says that the martial arts training was the solution. And, like so many people over the years, they say, you know, you really made a profound effect on my life, or, you don't want to say what you say. People say, man, you saved my life. That's a big statement. But the thing is, we can be the right person at the right time for people. And,
Mhm.
uh, and that's it. And plus just the support system that you have with the people that you train with and everything. It's just a different dynamic than work or
Of course.
you know your pickleball group or whatever. um so it's just like I said,
Even though it can be, even way more challenging than work, for sure.
yeah, it can be, but you're there to enjoy it. And people that do jujitsu for any amount of time, you get over that little hump, which is that, okay, this is hard, not pleasant all the time. And once you kind of get over that, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to embrace this. This is what I want. They understand what they get out of it. And
Mhm.
I that physicality is a thing. But that's why so many people swear by it. It's something, like I said, I've done it for a very long time. Um, just to kind of segue into it, I started training in 1984. So when I got out
Okay.
of high
Year
school,
before I was born, okay.
I started. Went to college and got hooked into I was going to try to take karate, and the
Uh-huh.
karate class was full because I'd always wanted to do a martial art. And they said, "Oh, judo." Oh, well, that's got to be pretty close, right? So here I am, just
Sounds close.
right. So it's a martial art, right? So I got into
Sure.
judo and did judo. Took that class for all the credit I could possibly get, and then started auditing the class, on the side, and then became like an assistant instructor in the class. So I trained judo from '84 to '89, and
Okay.
and it was a great experience. And then
So you
um,
became an instructor pretty fast in that,
Well
right?
well, just an assistant, it was just,
Yeah,
because like I said, it was,
yeah,
we had some older instructors, I say older, at the time, but they worked full-time jobs, and our instructor there, he was older at the time, he was in his 70s, and he needed somebody to toss around in class. And I was a perfect size.
yeah.
I was like 5'10", 5'11", 200 pounds, small enough to throw around, but
Thank
um,
you.
I was a good uke. So the guy that's getting tossed is the uke. So I was a good demo guy. So took a lot of falls, and so I wouldn't say instructor. Mostly is I was the throw guy. I was the throw dummy, but
Sure.
just helped out in class. And I changed majors at that time and went into nursing. And my schedule changed and really didn't really train too much for about 3 years, and was still training some, working with some local law enforcement guys that I knew. And one of them said one day, "Hey, man, you should just open a school." And I was like, okay, well, that's not a horrible idea, I guess, once I got my wife on board with it. So we built a big Butler building. I live in a very rural part of Alabama, um, in Blunt County on Pine Mountain. And we built a big Butler building, and that was my first school. And so we were really
What
the
year was
first
that?
that we in '95.
Got it.
And so, we were the first, we'll say, MMA school in Alabama, because it all happened after the first UFC. And so we were training mixed stuff then. And that was about the time I went to California for the first time, and trained with Gene LaBelle and Gokar. And while I was out there, that's you were talking about Rogan. I met Joe Rogan on that first trip out there, because Boss Rutan was training at Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu with Marco Huaz, and Oleg Taktarov was out there. And Rogan came by to see those guys, and I met him. This was when he was on News Radio,
Mhm,
the TV show. He was like the sports guy on news radio. And
mhm.
so it was before Fear Factor, I believe, and it was way before the podcast. But met him, I reflect back on that. And John Milius, the guy that directed Conan the Barbarian, Ethan Milius was the purple belt that ran the desk at Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu. That's John Milius' son, which was kind of interesting too in retrospect. But got to train with some really good people in the mid '90s, Boss and Marco and Oleg, and just and of course Gene LaBelle. That's just priceless. To spend time with him. And then Gene and I were talking, and one day, and I'd been following Eric Paulson. Had been putting he had a bunch of stuff in Black Belt magazine. He had a bunch of videos, leg locks. He was the first guy doing leg locks. Um, and so I said, well, I need to go train with Eric. So I was working 7 on 7 off in the hospital. And so would fly to California and train, and then come home. And so I went out and train with Eric. And I've been with Eric ever since 1997. And so I've been with Eric ever since. And he's a great friend and just an amazing instructor, and just a textbook of information. So
Mm,
um, I was one of his first coaches, really. Definitely in the Southeast, Seafood Alan Baker out of Atlanta area was probably Eric's first, but I was at the very beginning when he started his association up. And it's been a great thing. And I just can't speak highly enough of him and his group. Not a lot of politics involved in it, which is something, in
mhm,
anything nowadays. But
mhm. For sure.
Eric's amazing, and he's actually coming here to do a seminar. We try to have him in at least once a year, and hopefully I get to try to train with him several times a year. But he's coming here next month, July 11th. So I get to see him, and he gets to hang out for a weekend, and it'll be a great experience as always. But anyway, so I was doing no-gi stuff. We've been doing no-gi for a long time before it became the thing, and we were doing the MMA stuff early on. And I became a referee, and I've refereed several hundred MMA fights over the years. I was the head ref in Georgia and also in Alabama. I say head ref. Was doing more fights than anybody else at the given time. Of course, there's some great guys over there doing
How do you
it.
like doing that? How do you like
I,
refing?
it's challenging on a different level. But recently, because of the schools and stuff, and you do it for the love. It's not like you make a bunch of money doing that either. But it was a great experience and getting to meet a lot of cool people. And
You ever
so,
have any like interesting situations?
oh yeah,
I mean, maybe a lot, right?
oh yeah, there's a lot of funny ones. Um, but I've had probably one of the coolest ones. In looking at it, I was doing a fight in Huntsville actually, and they were 155ers, I believe. And I think it was like second round. The guy had the guy against the cage hitting him, and he hit the guy and knocked him out. So I go to shoot between them with my back to the guy who's throwing the punches.
Hmm.
He goes over the top of me and hits the guy, wakes the guy up. Right. So he's out, he gets hit again, comes to. I'm the guy in front of him. He tackles me, and I'm in the middle of the cage with him in my guard, and he's throwing punches at me. And I just kind of smother him. And I said, man, it's over. It's over. What? It's over. What? It's over,
Yeah.
man. You got knocked out. He said, damn. So anyway, but yeah, the promoter took he's got a picture of that, me in the center of the cage,
Oh,
this guy on top of me, punching me. Um, but, um, but yeah, there's a ton of interesting things that happen, a lot of funny stories and things. But, um, but yeah, that was a great experience, and seeing that side of it, and it helps you train people better when you've been on that side of it.
oh,
You
100%, I bet. Yeah.
you can't do this, you can't do both at the same time because of conflict of interest of stuff. But um, we were one of the first. I say we, my wife and I, we were the first people really. There was another guy putting on some fights, but we were very early on putting on MMA fights in Alabama. So we probably put on probably about 10 or 15 total events over a 3 or 4 year period. Even in Birmingham, we did Batwell Auditorium, which is probably the second largest auditorium in Birmingham. We did that, and so I've done a broad spectrum of different things over the years, and
How'd you like that? Was that fun?
not really. I mean, it was interesting, but it was
Why'd you
challenging.
do it?
Pe- Well, one, I needed a place for my guys to fight. That's why we
Mhm.
started doing it.
Mhm.
Matt Hume out of Seattle is actually the one that convinced me to do it. We were bringing Matt in, Demetrius Johnson's coach when Demetrius was fighting. We brought Matt in, and had brought him in several times to kind of teach down here. And he said, nobody's putting on fights. You should start your own kind of fight organization down here. And so he said the reason he did it up in Seattle was so that his guys had a place to fight, and because there wasn't much going on at the time in Alabama. And so that was all before 9/11, and a lot of fights took place in National Guard armories at that time. After 9/11,
Really?
that stopped. Yeah. They didn't let fights and stuff go on inside those National Guard armories anymore. So, but anyway, that's a whole nother kettle of fish, I guess, but it was a great experience, but there's a lot of stress involved in that. And, but
Was it
again,
difficult
learned
to
a
put
lot.
that stuff on? Was it difficult to start that up, the first time you did it?
We did, yeah, but I'd already had a good network of people. I'd made a lot of friends outside the different states around in
Yeah.
Tennessee and Georgia, and even in Florida. So I had kind of people, draw from to get their guys to come up and fight and stuff. That really wasn't the issue. We didn't have an athletic commission at the time, which made it a lot simpler. We actually started our own commission. Um, just kind of, again, we were the only ones having fights, but we were monitoring it. We wanted to make sure everything was done as correct as we could, and being a nurse, I always had a doc. I can always taught one of the doctors I worked with to be our fight doctor. We always did things right. Um, And so, and again, have developed a lot of good friendships over the time. But probably the biggest thing is people pulling out of fights for different reasons, legitimate stuff
Sure.
and some illegitimate reasons. The UFC deals with that now. I mean, it's just something putting
Yeah.
on fight, you know?
Such a big thing, such a big event, such a big, you know,
Oh,
build up,
yeah.
such a big, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a completely different animal now. I mean, back in the days when we used to do the pay-per-views, I think they were 1999, and they had them 3 or 4 times a year. And, you would look at them, we got a satellite dish just so we could watch fights, I mean, it was just
Yeah, yeah.
a different time altogether.
Mhm.
Um, but I had met, just perspective wise, I'd met Forrest Griffin. He'd come up to the house because we'd had Matt Hume in, and Forrest came up, um, and had been up and trained up at the house at as they called it, the barn up on the mountain back in the day, but
On
way
the
before
mountain.
the Ultimate Fighter and everything like that. So, you know, it's interesting how things have gone over the years and how big everything got, and then how the iteration that it's changing now that it's on Paramount and people aren't paying for pay-per-views anymore, really, you know.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how the dynamic of all of it's changed. And now it's a profession for guys. Everybody, back in the day, it's like, well, you go work your job and you fight too. We just did it so that we wanted to test our skills. It wasn't like you ever thought you were gonna make money at it.
Mm, mm.
It's like we just did it. It was, it's like, hey, I wonder, is my stuff gonna hold up? You know.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think there was
So
a big, boom in general? Of course, you can see it in your own bubble right
mhm.
after COVID?
For like jujitsu, um,
Mhm.
well,
Gym goers, if you will.
yeah, well, the no-gi stuff started kicking in right then, and we had Craig Jones in here shortly after that. We lucked into it before Craig became Craig. Um, and he was just happened to be luck. It all happened up, and we had him here and got to hang out with him for a while here in Alabama because of a series of events that happened. And so it was interesting even before then, before he became who he became, and then he joined with Danaher and then left Danaher and then started the B team and all that. And it's just to see people where they were and see where they are now. It's amazing. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, Craig is such an interesting individual, funny and just a pleasant guy to hang out with. But it's just being, again, doing it for so long, because 40 something years for me now training, um, just to see how the people you met along the way and where they ended up. It's cool. Again, I'm
Of
60
course.
years old this month, and
Okay.
you appreciate things as you get older too, and the lessons you've learned and the relationships you've developed. And that's the thing about jujitsu too. It's all about the relationships.
Do you think that part of the reason why there's been such a big boom is it's because jujitsu is so accessible? Uh, Almost
Yeah,
anybody can do it. People are figuring
I
that out.
I think, like we were talking before we were on, I think Rogan played a huge part. Um, Between Rogan and Jocko Willink, uh, they're out there, and I think that brought it into the public eye more, and it
Mhm,
became a thing that people kind of wanted to do. There must be something to this stuff.
mhm.
These guys are talking so much about it. Um, yeah, I think it was a time too where people were, for lack of a better term, I'm gonna say, kind of maybe getting soft a little bit, and they needed something to kind of reinforce the structure of of
Yeah,
whatever. And
yeah.
I think jujitsu kind of does that. I mean, it's unpleasant at times, and you have to learn to work through that. And you can apply those experiences like hardship in the rest of your life, and you can deal with things better, I think.
But it's different in strike but, it's different from striking
Oh yeah,
because you can tap out. Let's just put it
yeah, you can,
let's
you can,
yeah.
yeah, and I think high level striking, guys, you can train, you can do timing sparring and things like that. There's great things about striking, but there's something just very primal about the grappling thing. Wrestling, most, at least, you if you have the opportunity is to be able to wrestle around with your dad or your brothers or your
Okay.
friends,
That's getting
people
at
wrestle
something
around,
there. Yes.
and it turns out girls like to do it too.
Yeah.
So
Oh, my
so
3-year-old daughter. Oh my goodness gracious.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Well,
and
all
that,
kids do it.
yeah, and it's like a thing, it's just people enjoy it. Of course, some people don't, and then they grow to enjoy it. And then some people just say it's not for me. Sometimes might have a bad experience, or they've got whatever issues, old trauma or something that they don't. And then sometimes that helps people work through that stuff. Um, but you have to have the right people at the right time. And I think there's a lot of happy accidents that happen, that people end up being at the right place at the right time for certain people.
Mm,
And that's happened for me. And I know I've been there for other people. They've told me that it's, it's, I know why I'm here, you know? Um,
mhm.
that's one of the reasons that I continue to do it too. I mean, I can always find a place to train. I could go to any school in town and they would let me train there, just because I have good relationships with everybody. And I was doing it when a lot of those guys came up or started. They may not have started with me, but they knew about me. Um, and like Coach Chris Magyar, who trains with me now, he's probably the only Sambo black belt in Alabama. He trains with me over at our 280 place. He's actually partnered with me in on that school over there. Um, Chris had a
Can you tell
club.
people what Sambo is? Tell people what Sambo is?
Sambo is kind of like Russian judo. So there's a combative form and there's more of a sport form, but I'd say Russian judo.
And
A
tell
lot
people
of
what
throws,
judo is.
judo throwing, uh, wear the kimono, the gi, or I say kimono, somebody's gonna get on me about kimono, the gi. Um, and it's a lot of gripping and throwing and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Sambo had a lot of leg locks in it, and arm bars. Very little choking in the sport version of it. While judo is about choking and throwing and arm locks, but no leg locks in sport judo. There's some in the judo form or jujitsu form of judo, like Kozen judo, which is really, everybody says, kind of Gracie jiu-jitsu is kind of framed from the Kozen judo, and because it's very, very similar in certain aspects. But anyway, um, but yeah, so Chris is that he had a school, a club. When I had my school, he opened up just shortly after I did. So he had a great, and so everybody, we all knew each other back in the day. If you grappled, we knew each other. So it
Okay.
was a strong community. And James Shrigley was down there. He had a school down there. He had Machado School down there, and so we all knew each other at the time, and we've continued to kind of know each other. And most people are still, they've come in and out of training over the years, but a lot of them are still training, even if they don't have a school.
Mm,
So
mm,
that's
mm.
good.
So, kind of just leading up till now, like, how's everything gone the last several years?
Um, I would say, again, we talked about COVID. COVID
Mhm.
was hard on everybody. I mean, people couldn't train. I was doing some Zoom stuff just for my people. I didn't charge anybody anything during
Okay.
COVID. It shut down. I didn't charge, but I continued to do stuff on Zoom and tried to do some things, and that was hard. Especially having two schools. I had two schools then, and through the grace of God was the only way that those schools stayed open. I had good people. I still was able to, yeah, do it. I did some privates during that time, you know, with guys that I trusted. Um, you and I were talking before we went on. 2 years ago, roughly, I went back to nursing full time, and still had both my schools. I was a little worried economically where things were going, and so many more jujitsu schools now, you know, and it was a
Mhm.
great decision to do that. It's taken a burden off my back. I train, I'm not worried about making money at my schools. I want to keep the doors open. but
Yeah.
I'm not worried about making money. I just want to provide a place for my guys that have been with me for 10, 15 years to continue to train, and I don't have to worry about it. Now, it's not easy because
Time.
there's only so much of me to go around. So I've got good assistant instructors or they're instructors. They're not, I've got several black belts now that are excellent uh, teachers. And I always say this: everybody is an instructor. So even a new white belt, when you start teaching them, they're working with another white belt. The next day. So you want to really ingrain stuff into them so that they can convey that information. So everybody teaches. I mean, even at the so you're working with somebody else,
That's
maybe a
cool.
little less than you or something.
Yeah.
So
And
you know,
I've never heard that before
yeah,
in
I
that
mean,
way. Yeah.
you're always training instructors.
Okay.
That's the thing. You're always training instructors because when people talk, I always said some of the best learning that people get are in that 5 or 10 minutes before or after class because guys will be on the mat and they're like, look at what I'm working on, and they're doing stuff. Um, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of sweet stuff that happens before and after class, as far as technical stuff. And those little light bulbs come on and it
Yeah.
makes
When
those,
people are just hanging out, right?
yeah,
Sitting,
just hanging
waiting,
out.
hanging out,
Right. Right.
doing
Sometimes
whatever,
just that
conversing.
space, yeah, that mental space where there's not as much structure. Some people really get some really good, well, I know everybody does.
Well,
And
isn't that
so,
like art, I mean,
yeah,
when your mind is kinda, like, clear or you're not trying too hard, something like that, it's almost like
yeah,
when you're walking in nature, you're just not
yeah,
really trying too hard, you're
right,
not sitting down at a
right,
desk.
right, right.
Maybe yeah, kinda the same thing.
Yeah, your brain is in touch with the ether maybe a little bit more, and you can, you're able to take in the information maybe differently than like somebody's just teaching a technique.
So do you point
Sometimes,
that out to your students
oh yeah,
that that's a thing that's happening?
yeah, oh yeah. Um, I think, and we have a very, I mean, we always kind of have a little structure about what we're going to do in a given class, but also we're very open minded. Sometimes we'll say we'll go down a rabbit hole of something because somebody's having problems with something. And a lot of times that information is at the right time for someone else too, or everybody. And so, sometimes you just got to go with the flow of what's going on. You
Yeah,
can't
the
be so,
rabbit holes are the best holes. There's
yeah,
a reason
yes.
for a rabbit hole,
You find those
for sure.
things. You find some of those epiphanies of like, oh, look, I've been doing this for 40 years. Why did I not see that? And I mean,
Mhm.
that's crazy, but true. Um, so yeah, it's
Well,
just that's what makes jujitsu sweet is that being able to find that, that endorphin kick in that happens when you have that moment. Ha ha, you just fixed
mm,
it, that kind of thing.
sure, sure. I wanna hit on this now. Tell me now, what, if you kinda had to sum it up in a few sentences or so, I mean, what is jujitsu to you? What is it for you? What is jujitsu for you?
I said this a couple of years ago. So in China, the term kung fu is like your kung fu. Like you may be a chef, you may be like a really good chef, and that's kind of your kung fu, your thing. And so your jujitsu is kind of like it's not just the art itself, but you kind of carry that through your life. To me, is it my persona now? Yeah, I mean, folks that work with me, they know I do it, but it doesn't affect my job. I want to do a really good job at what I do professionally in the hospital. When I'm in a
Mhm.
procedural area, so we're doing procedures on patients all day, every day. But it's kind of like it becomes part of you. So it's part of your essence. I think it's not just like I said, it's not like playing pickleball. Of course, you got people that are so fired up about playing pickleball nowadays. It's like pickleball becomes their thing too. It's like, oh, you know him, he's that really good pickleball player or whatever. But to me, this jujitsu is a program that's running in my head all the time. I mean, it's just how I move, how I deal with things. I walk on the street every day. I have a walk, down the streets of downtown Birmingham every day. I don't. I walk like a normal human being, but I'm also very aware of what's going on because I have someone come up and ask me for $1, or now it's $5 every day. They want, hey man, can you help
Yeah,
me
yeah.
out? That happens every day. I mean, when you work downtown, and so being able to deal with that situation, not in a combative way, but having the confidence to say, sorry, man, I don't carry any cash, just have a conversation with people. And uh, I just, I don't know. It's
Okay.
there.
Do you think the adrenaline that's running through your body while you are rolling, the closeness to being choked out, if you will, getting how close you get to getting hurt? Do you think that kind of helps ingrain that mental aspect of jujitsu of um, what's the word?
Well, I
Figuring
think if you're
things
getting
out, being
caught,
alert.
right. I think if you're getting caught, you wanna pick that lock. It's like escaping. You can be early on an escape, you can be on time on an escape, and you can be very late. Sometimes if you're late on trying to escape, you're not escaping. So you have to be aware enough to realize you need to be early or at least on time when you're going to escape from a position. Because you always end up in bad spots regardless, right? But I think, yeah, I think it does it.
What I mean is, like, do you think that the strenuous aspect of jujitsu, do you think that helps change the chemicals in your mind
Well, I'm going to
to
say
so it
yes,
so it is reflected in your everyday
yes,
life, so you carry it on?
but I don't. I'm to the point now to where I don't think of it like adrenaline.
Sure,
I said endorphins a while ago. When something goes right, I get a cascade of an endorphin rush. It's not an adrenaline rush because my whole objective when I'm rolling with somebody is to not get into an adrenal state. My thing
sure.
is to try to keep it smooth and try to stay ahead in time. And if for some reason I get behind time and I'm having to react, again, I'm reacting then. I'm not being proactive. I'm reacting. So I try to keep it level. So
What
my
you're
goal,
saying now is actually what everybody says who trains. When I say the word adrenaline, your reaction is the same that everybody says, and I need to
no,
remember that. And it's less adrenaline and it's more calm, and it's more
right.
endorphins when you're succeeding and you're progressing. Yeah, I
Well,
understand what you're saying.
when
You
you
don't
listen
want
to
the
Master
adrenaline.
when you listen to Master Hickson talk about how he does his breathing, how he does his breathing thing, and how he normalizes his breath in a bad position when you've got a 300-pound dude on your chest, you know, that you're not, I'm not trying to spike. It's like when you see untrained people say, oh man, I could deal with that situation. I see red and ooh, you better get back. Yeah, that doesn't work real well a lot of times. It will work sometimes, but being able to move in a calculated way, train, I want to ingrain it in me to where I do the right thing. My hands are up, not in a dangerous way. They're up. And this sets everything else up, whether I'm doing jujitsu or whether somebody approaches me on the street. My hands, jazz hands. Hey, man, I'm not looking for any trouble. You know,
Mhm,
hey, have a good day, like that.
mhm.
This is a preemptive thing. It's a fence, it's a spacer, but it also, I'm ahead of the game. My timing is up because my hands are already here. If my hands are in my pocket and somebody's talking and I let them get too close, my reaction is not going to save me. I'm not
Got it.
structurally, Same thing in jujitsu. My hands are up, my elbows are in, no, regardless of where my legs are or what I'm doing. Standing on the ground, I want to be here. I want to be elbows in, good structure.
Why do you think people love it there at the academy? What makes it special and unique?
The personalities probably of everybody, and I've tried to cultivate that. It's a group of individuals, um, good attitudes. Back in the old days, and again, occasionally, now everybody kind of knows about jujitsu, so you kind of know what you're kind of getting into. Very few people will come up. I don't know what jujitsu is. They've gone online and looked up stuff, and they have an idea. But we've got a little bit of an older population that trains with. I say, you know, middle aged folks. A lot of middle aged folks. Not a bunch of we've got some young, but most of them are older professional guys or, families and things like that. And that changes the perspective on your jujitsu and your school. And that's what I want. I want to be around people that I would hang around with if I didn't have a jujitsu school.
Right.
And it's that's it. I don't want a bunch of thugs around here because I wouldn't hang out with that dude. I don't want to train that guy to where he's going to go out and do bad things, you know. And so I want to be around somewhat like-minded people. I don't want to say that in a bad way, but you
No, I
know that
understand.
that's my school. It's my school. It's our school. That's what we want. We want to have a safe environment to where people can be themselves and just be good people. I don't care what political belief you have. If it's different from mine, guess what? When we get on the mat, we don't talk politics. And you're a good training partner or you're not, and that's the way I look at it. I don't judge people by their economical background, their economic background or, whatever else. It's just, are they good people? And our goal is to try to bring that out. And the name heroes, you can catch grief about saying heroes, like we're a bunch of heroes, but it's about a mindset. We want to have a heroic mindset about what we do. We want to try to do the right thing. And I'm a comic book nerd, man. We were talking earlier about the art stuff. I love comics. I've got a couple of tattoos of stuff. The mural I've got painted on the wall. You'll see it. We'll take a look at it before I go. Um, but I love Batman. I love
One Piece?
Superman. One out.
One Piece? Do you know One Piece?
Oh yeah, I know One Piece.
I mean, I got
I
a
wasn't
9-year-old.
aware of
We
it.
we just watched the live
Yeah,
action together. It's so,
yeah,
so, so, so good. The live
it is.
action
And
one, yeah.
visually, even if the visuals of that are just phenomenal. I mean, it's so crisp and
Yeah.
clean, and it's just, yeah, I enjoy it. My wife and I, we were watching that this last weekend, a little bit of it,
Okay.
uh, and I
So
wasn't
well
really
done.
aware. I wasn't aware of the anime really. I
Okay.
kind of knew about it because I'm a nerd, so I kind of keep up with some of that, like Chainsaw Man and all that. I'm aware of all that anime stuff, but I really didn't watch it. So it was kind of cool, and I have enjoyed the Netflix show.
Yeah. Yeah, we just finished this season too. Um, have you seen that one on Netflix, the Russell Crowe MMA movie, the new one?
You know,
Someone
it's
mentioned that
probably no.
yesterday, and it's $10 you have to pay. So maybe
Really?
that's why I didn't do it at 11 o'clock last night. Yeah, I
No,
don't
I
take
didn't. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was. I didn't know that it was an extra charge. But I'm just going to tell you, I try to stay away from some of that because
yeah,
I just don't know. I mean, I've watched movies like that, which I really like John Wick, just because it's got some really cool jujitsu in it. Um, and Chad Stahelski and Eric, my coach, are friends. So, and Eric
oh, got
actually
it.
did a little bit of stuff in the first one, and the Colliers up in Tennessee in Kingsport, they were in three. They were the Sambo guys, the guys in the red geese that are throwing around when he goes to the theater. That's the Collier
Okay.
brothers. And I've trained with those guys, and those guys would come down and everything. They're judo guys. But so I kind of like that, and having that connection to it makes me like it that much more because I
Mhm.
know some of the. I tell you, a great movie that doesn't get. And again, if you don't like it, it's okay. But Red Belt is the name of it, and it's kind of a modern day samurai kind of story. It's 10, 15 years old now, um, but it's really good. Oh God, David Mamet wrote it, um, and it's got a bunch of people that are martial artsy, real people. John Machado's in it. It's got some people playing parts in it, but I recommend that Red Belt. I think you would
Red
enjoy it.
belt.
Red
All
Belt,
right, I
put
got it
that
written
down.
down.
Yeah, it's really good. I enjoy it, but people say, it doesn't have enough action in it. But anyway, but I
Okay.
would be interested. Send me a message later if you get a chance to watch it at some point in the future, and let
Yeah,
me know what you
I'll
thought
watch
of
it because Chris enjoys it. Yeah, for sure.
it. Yeah, I think you'll
Is it on
like
Net?
it.
Or you don't know if it's on Netflix or anything? It's been
It's not on.
15
It's
years.
not on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's on Prime now. I own it,
Could
so
be.
but
Yeah,
but anyway, it's
I'll
Red Belt.
find it.
David Mamet wrote it, and and he was doing jujitsu at the time. He was training with the Machados and thought, well, it's just an interesting story. I'd be interested to see what you thought.
Okay, cool. I got it written down. Um, if what would you like to say about jujitsu to the outside world who doesn't train yet, who's
Uh,
thinking about training,
I think it
maybe have
offers.
their kids are interested?
Yeah, I
Either
think
way.
it's great. I think it's really great for kids. I'm going to say this, and you know, nowadays kids have so much. A lot of them are in the tablet so much and doing stuff, and um, I think it helps get people kind of leveled up. If you got too much ego, jujitsu will help you. If you don't have enough ego, jujitsu will help you. It'll help level you up and normalize you. I would say I've had kids come in that the parents had tried them in other sports, whether it was t-ball, soccer, whatever, even wrestling, and it did not click. And they come in and do jujitsu for 1 year, then they go back out and they're better at everything. Um, whatever sport they decide to go after. And some of them are just amazing stories. We had a kid that was and again, he was just an interesting little guy, but he never really liked anything. He did jujitsu for a while. The mom says, we're going to try him and let him try wrestling and see, and he'll be back after wrestling season. Never came back. She was sending me pictures of his matches. He was killing kids, on the wrestling mat. And that became his thing. And I could hear the crowd was chanting his name. And it was just like amazing. This is
Yeah,
first year. And again, he was a kid. I mean, he was probably 11 years old, but he just had that, it just allowed it to click for him.
mm,
And sometimes it's just that little bit of confidence regardless, whether it's track or whatever kids need to do. We've got one kid that trains with us. He's really good at baseball. Um, was doing jujitsu, started wrestling, really enjoying wrestling, doing well in wrestling now. He didn't start wrestling until he was doing jujitsu, still does baseball. But, you know, it, it can accentuate. You just need good coaches. I mean, you don't want your kids getting hurt. There's a little bit of banging up that always happens with kids, but you need to have good coaches and have a good environment so that they can learn. And
mm.
and you can tell that pretty quick. I mean, what's the
It's so
dynamic?
rewarding as a parent to see your kid do something
Oh yeah,
very hard and difficult, even
yeah,
crying sometimes, they're
right.
okay, they're not hurt, but they're crying because something was difficult, they're not used to, they're pushing themselves so much.
And then,
So,
and then when they work through that, that's huge. You know,
yeah,
And for us, we don't do contracts, so you're not locked in for like a year. Again, I'm not going to say I'm the best businessman. I'm sure there's ways I can make money better than I have, but basically everybody does. It's not month to month. I don't have to search people out. They do like an auto debit, but
yeah, yeah,
if they're not getting something out of it, they're not going to pay for it.
yeah,
I mean, so you can tell that the kids are getting something out of it, and the parents are too. The parents see the value in it, and we've had several cases over the years. The parents may be going through a divorce, and one of the constants in the kid's life was their jujitsu. And it helped the kids get through that hump, which is huge. Or we've even had a guy that trained with us. He had an aneurysm and died, and his kids were training, and the mom kept the kids in the training, and it was a stable thing in the kids' lives, and it helped them still relate with their dad. I think for that.
yeah.
So there's just again, it's about the relationships that we develop here. Um, I want people to be champions in life. They don't have to be champions in sport. I just want them to be able to build good people, you know. And kids a lot of times don't have bad habits yet, so they're easier to work with, harder and easier.
Before you, give us the tour, you wanna show us the place, what would you like to say your community there at the academy?
Fantastic group of people. I mean, I'm so blessed. I'm blessed with my relationships that I have with them here. Again, I work so much now. They're holding the place up. I come in I teach some, I teach at both locations some, but I've got great instructors. Again, you're always training instructors. So you're building your framework, your structure. There's just amazing people. Coach Robbie Eaton, Coach Chris Bolin, uh, Coach D, uh, Coach Laura, Coach Phillip, Coach Brandon, just great people. Coach Magyar over at Chris Magyar over at the other place, Coach Steve Brown over at the other place. You know, just a great group of people that I've known for decades now, some of them.
Mm.
But I tell you, it all comes from the fact too of the relationships that I have with other people outside. Seafood Alan Baker in Atlanta, Coach Eric Paulson in California, Professor Alan Hopkins out of Mississippi, and his bunch of guys. He's got, again, it's not just it's not so tribal to where it's our group. We're friends, and we may belong to different associational groups, but we're friends and we have great relationships.
Mm.
And I'm going to Professor Allen's summer thing they have every year, and I'm teaching down there this month. So doing a little seminar thing down there, and he's got several instructors teaching. But it's just great to go down and just hang out with those people, and it's just like being back home or just hanging out with a group of friends you haven't seen in a while.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
but I'm just blessed, man. I mean, that's it. I'm in a great place in my life. Knock on wood. I know life's changing. I had my hip replaced 5 years ago. Too much judo when I was young. Got thrown around a lot. Got a bad knee from dislocating my knee. Got hit with a stick. Dislocated my knee. Never had surgery. Rehabbed it. Shoulder surgery. I've had injuries, but you work through them. You can step off a curb and tear yourself up.
Yeah.
Or be in a car wreck. It's about dealing with that, and I'm passionate about it. You got to have a passion in your life. Like I said, this program's running in my head all the time. So, um, just
You
think,
want to show us
sure,
around? Show us
sure,
some of the art
sure,
too.
sure,
So you
sure.
want to show us some of the art? I want to see it.
Yeah. So all the painting stuff, and you can tell me if, as we move down, I'm kind of proud. Let's see, the Wonder Woman I like a lot.
Maybe back up a little bit. Back up a little
Okay,
bit.
I have to get on the mat. There we go.
Okay. Okay.
And then
Got it.
there's Batman. There's a Wolverine right
So
there.
so you painted these, right?
Right. There's Superman up there.
Oh,
We're a little close. There's a Hulk. There's Batgirl. There's Nightwing
yeah.
right here. This
Oh,
is the Academy right here. So you can kind of see this is the adult side. We have a kid side and an adult side.
yeah.
Right. So we're going to go down
Nice.
this hall right here. And as you can tell, I like Batman.
I
So
love Batman. Batman's my favorite.
yeah, the bathrooms right here. As we come into here, this is our kids side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
And there's Coach Eric right there on the wall. So this is the mural that I painted that I felt almost killed me. So it's it's the whole wall. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be like Gotham City, but it's
Yeah.
got our hero. The light is the hero's emblem instead of the bat signal, as you can see
Got it.
up
Got it.
there.
Yeah, I see it.
And then we've got these little things over here that the kids kind of get on a little bit. But yeah, I wanted to do
Man,
like
that's
the bat cave. You can see the little fake rock stuff I painted up there. We got a little
got it.
gargoyle up there. Um,
That's really cool.
yeah, and when we had our younger program, I still have this up. We had our levels of different levels: pledge, candidate, trainee, sidekick, paladin, hero, and superhero in our kids program. Um, but but yeah, I wanted this side to like the bat cave. So the skylights were kind of painted out, and we painted everything black in here. And but
The
yeah,
Heroes logo looks like the Bat
it
logo
does.
too.
It does.
That's
Can't help
awesome.
it, right? But but yeah, it's and the other school is not quite this themed. Like I said, this has been done over 16 years, all of it. Most of the mural stuff here and all was done, it was done one character at a time.
Mhm.
And there's Coach Eric up there. But and then this is a signed print that I got at Comic Con a few years ago. It's like let's see, Frontier thing. But anyway, but but I love, I'm an art guy. I don't get to do it as much. A lot of the logo stuff, a guy helped me with it, like cleaning it up back in the day. But I come up with all the stuff. I like the octopus because got 8 arms and legs to tie people up with,
I
and so
want an octopus. Me and my son wants wants an octopus.
Okay, I'm sorry, I cut out. So
Yeah,
anyway,
you're good. I was just saying, like, we like octopi, whatever.
you know,
He calls them
right, right.
octopussies. He's always called, and he's
that, that's
9,
not
and
that's not that's not the James Bond movie.
he's
But
always
anyway,
called it that, and he said, "No, no, it's not octopus, it's octopussy." He's 9 years old, he knows. He said, "No, no, that's the way I say
I,
it. That's the way I'm gonna
I
say it."
like it too. I'm going to start using that more. Not really, but anyway. but
Maybe you'll remember it. Yeah, octopussies.
right. But anyway, dude, thank you so much. I've
Yeah,
enjoyed
Chris,
it,
for sure.
and like I said, if you want to do it again sometime, let me know. We can talk about the old days of
I
you know the backwoods. The we called it the Underground Fight Club, and
Okay.
it was fun. Uh, Looking back on it,
I'm gonna reach out to you, in a few months or so, or maybe
yeah,
maybe even sooner than that, or we'll just, go ahead and schedule something because, yeah, 100%.
yeah, man.
Thank you so much, Chris.
All right. Well, look, you
Yeah,
have a
thank you
great
for
day.
what you're doing. Yeah, you as well, and I'll talk to you soon, okay, Chris? Thank you for the
Uh,
tour as well. Amazing art. I loved it.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
See you in the
Bye bye.
Batmobile. See ya.
All right, man. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.